Welcome back, viewers, and I do hope today is very informative. This morning I was talking to a farmer, and she indicated that she had a farrowing of 22 piglets, and 3 days after, she now has just 7 piglets. It is indeed a worrying situation, and so we must be able to address mortality among piglets. Now, mortality among piglets can happen as a result of many things. We could have conditions such as poor infrastructure. We could have conditions such as uncontrolled temperature variations. We could have conditions such as the sow being able not to have good mothering ability. And apart from that, we could have instances of stillbirths. But for today's presentation, I will try to address the mere fact or the mere issue as it relates to mortality as a result of poor housing conditions. Because if she had addressed that issue, and if she had her pen arranged in such a way that crushing could have been reduced, and then the piglets would have had adequate temperature at the same time, if she was quite knowledgeable of these things, then this difficulty that has occurred could have been prevented. And so it is my view that you guys need to know so that we can be able to move the mortality from almost 20% to a more acceptable 7-8%. That is, a desired input. Because if in a farrowing of 10, you have 1 piglet dying, it is an economic loss in the end. And so today, we hope to address this issue. There's a recently farrowed batch of piglets. And as you could see, the mother is well secured and the piglets have free rein to roam. In this type of condition, even a mother having poor mothering ability, it makes it a little bit difficult for crushing to occur because she has some amount of confinement. But at the same time, there is a compromise that must happen. The mother prefers a temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit, while the piglets prefer a temperature of 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So in this type of housing system, both temperatures are provided. Both parties enjoy the comfort of their self without compromising any one of the situations. And feeding takes place regularly. Now, as it relates to lactation, the sow that is lactating, what you will find the piglets going aggressively towards the milk. So as we address housing, you could be able to tell whether or not the piglets are doing fine. And those piglets that are weak, it clearly indicates, you'll see the feebleness in them. It clearly indicates that they are not getting the amount of milk that's required. So some amount of personal attention will be necessary to save the piglets and to improve what's happening. So on the ground, if you have a condition where there are many piglets, then there's time and need for us to participate in foster care. It's time for us to ensure the temperatures at 95 degrees Fahrenheit for the piglet and 65 degrees for the sow. It's time for us to provide structures that can prevent crushing, amongst other things. And it is time to ensure that we provide balanced ration for the sow so that she can be able to provide sufficient milk during this lactating phase of her life. During the first 24 hours after parturition, the piglets will have access to adequate supplies of colostrum continuously, as is available independent of the nursing of the sow. But after that period, what would happen is that there is some need for split suckling of the piglets, where some are allowed to suckle at one point in time and some are allowed to suckle at another point in time, bearing in mind that there is just a 20-second milking period with the piglet and sow during this milk release. Now, colostrum availability will gradually change within the first day after farrowing, from being consistently and continuously being available to now being available at milk ejection times. And so to minimize the suckling piglet mortality, litter size at 24 hours need to be addressed. Farrowing should not exceed the number of functional teeth, meaning that the piglets, even though let's say 20 has farrowed, 20 piglets have been farrowed from the litter, you can only keep 16 piglets because there's only 16 functional teeth. So the 4 that remain We will now go through a system where we can either do one of the following. Either we foster care by way of giving milk, cow's milk, or if there is a replacement milk, the colostrum, milk with colostrum, we give it to them. Or what farmers will do in the field, they will actually use the cow's milk and put some amount of egg, duck egg or fowl egg into it to increase the protein level. Or there's a better alternative, the alternative where if two sows actually farrow within the 24-hour period, they use the afterbirth and confuse the sow by rubbing the afterbirth on and around the piglet and on the piglet, so that the sow becomes confused as to which piglet belongs to her. And so the sow that has produced less piglets will be more inclined to accept the addition of the four from the first sow. And so these are ways and strategies of tackling and battling with piglet mortality, because if we can establish this balance among functional teeth with the sows that we have, and then we can be able to transfer some of the piglets in excess to those sows that produce less, and we can be able to fight a great challenge and win a great battle.